Joseph Murphy worked for decades that financial success is not an accident, but determined by the dominant vibrational frequency that each person creates in their inner world. When Murphy studied families that struggled against chronic financial difficulties, he noticed a surprising and alarming pattern. These families bore, without perceiving it, an energetic field of financial lack that maintained itself through successive generations, like a scratched record playing continuously the same music of lack. Murphy termed this process vibrational legacy. He recognized that each family group possesses an emotional pattern linked to economic matters, a resonance that passes on through conduct, silent beliefs and emotional responses regarding financial difficulties. This ancestral energy acts like a secret system, deciding not merely what sum an individual can gather, but also their deep relationship with prosperity. Murphy assimilated that various money-related hindrances that he observed did not arise from deficiency or misfortune, but simply in the inherited vibration that every being assumed from a very young age. This understanding profoundly modified the mode in which Murphy treated financial transformation. In place of guiding uniquely methods to earn money or resource allocation approaches, Murphy dedicated himself to something essential, altering the wave about money that someone assimilated from their heritage. Murphy narrated extraordinary stories of people who were capable of breaking this ancestral pattern using specific procedures of mental reprogramming. One of these experiences involved an entrepreneur named Roberto, whose lineage experienced a repetitive cycle of financial ruin that remained over generations. His forefather had experienced the loss of all his wealth in a disastrous speculation. His direct ancestor had endured bankrupt businesses, and Roberto, even though dedicating himself to work obsessively, perceived himself recreating the same destructive pattern. On every occasion that he was able to collect a significant sum of capital, a situation appeared without apparent explanation, and he experienced the loss of everything. It appeared that an invisible force was a hidden power hindering his rational attempts. Murphy taught Roberto personally for a long time, instructing him in an essential truth that would be central in his entire thought. The hidden mind does not make a distinction between money you deserve and money your lineage believes it deserves. If inside you there is the frequency that fortune is dangerous, that evolving economically is dangerous, that financial security is illusory or false, therefore your subconscious will act permanently to keep you within this vibration because it appears to be the genuine reality. The deep mind does not critically analyze. It only executes the programs that were fixed in your psyche through lived legacy. Roberto finally understood that he was not complacent or incapable. He was molded, and psychic structures can be reprogrammed. Murphy revealed that when you alter the dominant vibrational pattern in your consciousness, you modify the command that you give to your unconscious. It equates to reprogramming a machine that was functioning with obsolete software, which is unfavorable. If the software is configured to welcome solely a determined sum of resources, then that will be precisely what you will receive, apart from how much sacrifice you make. Murphy proved this principle via meditative visualization approaches that he had formulated in the course of decades. He oriented his patients to consecrate 5 to 10 minutes daily in the morning, ideally, as soon as waking up when the consciousness remains in a permeable alpha state, visualizing not merely the entry of capital in their journey, but mainly the inner perception of stability, true faith, and worthiness that follows this entry. Murphy stated unequivocally that this perception represented the authentic key. It was not the fortune independently that had importance for the metamorphosis. It formed the frequency that the individual created concerning resources. With Roberto, Murphy started a process that he called Ancestral Vibrational Transmutation, a method that he had perfected through countless successful cases. Roberto should necessarily, during a period of 2 months, reserve 15 minutes each night when going to sleep in a deepened meditative state. In this special moment, Roberto should recognize with full consciousness the entire financial legacy of his group of origin. He should visualize his grandfather experiencing the financial ruin, his father struggling with unsuccessful initiatives, and all this ancestral lineage who preceded him bearing similar patterns. Then mentally, Roberto should express with true emotion, "I recognize your history. I honor with reverence the challenges you faced. I admire the trajectory you tread and the difficulties you faced. Nevertheless now, in this sacred space, I abandon this resonance of scarcity from my being. I establish a new pattern for our lineage. From this moment on in my life, abundant energy, prosperity, and economic security are the master frequencies that rules my decisions and my life." Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy established a principle that he referred to as Law of Vibrational Correspondence, an axiom that he had proven in multiple cases. This law asserts that the external reality always mirrors precisely to the dominant psyche. If internally you vibrate with deep fear of poverty, then the external world will manifest permanently events that amplify this apprehension and ratify your restrictive belief. If in your psyche prevails genuine security in your natural abundance, then the exterior reality will bring perspectives that strengthen and cultivate this confidence. The most innovative element of this concept is that it operates apart from your current situation or your past history. Someone who carries heavy debts, who alters their dominant vibration to plenty, will start in a few weeks to identify slight transformations that are visible. These modifications tend to be subtle in the initial phases, but are signs of a real transformation. An unexpected cost is prevented, inasmuch as you choose to reject making a hasty acquisition. An opportunity appears because you are in higher emotional frequency to communicate with a significant person. Your total organism starts to pulse in a distinct vibrational pattern. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To establish this vibrational change that was continuous and radical, Murphy created a system organized in 3 steps that he believed extremely vital for success. The first moment is the process Murphy referred to conscious ancestral recognition, and he stated that it was unfeasible to move forward without ending authentically this first step. In this stage, you must spend time truly identifying the total economic journey of your family group. This does not imply accusing your predecessors or rejecting them with negative feeling. It implies merely viewing with total transparency what they experienced, the deep wounds that they faced, the schemes that they developed as a survival strategy in periods of difficulty. Murphy perceived that various beings strive to avoid seeing this uncomfortable trajectory, sought to make believe there was nothing, and this obstructed permanently the true transformation. It continues being totally impossible to free oneself from what you avoid consciously to admit. Murphy instructed his apprentices to begin this simple exercise, which is transformative. In the night hours, Ideally at bedtime, when consciousness stays more receptive, sit in absolute silence, breathe with depth repeatedly, and mentally contemplate deeply on your family. Imagine the figures of those who came before. Identify the difficulties that they lived. Pronounce mentally with honesty a declaration like, "I identify that you, the one who begot me, lived through immeasurable losses that created deep fear in your core. I admit that you, the one who begot me, established preservation tools that were transmitted through generations over generations." Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet and becomes something you see with absolute clarity and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day, with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words, but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance." From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow. Murphy instructed that this confession operates because it establishes a new dominion in your interior. You do not place yourself rebuffing your lineage or your trajectory. You stay simply exercising your legitimate right as a conscious being who is free to choose a different vibration. Murphy had observed diverse cases documented where this confession, when executed with authentic emotive sincerity, created a frequency interruption so intense and deep that perceptible alterations commenced in a matter of days. He kept compiled examples where individuals reported extraordinarily clear dreams and remarkable dreams immediately after the affirmation. Honorific experiences where those who came before gave the impression of to confirm this change with silent approval and energetic consent. Despite the fact that Murphy was a scientific man who was precise in his general way of proceeding, he understood that there were manifestations that transcended purely material logic and Cartesian logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he maintained this sharp image and felt, Murphy taught with conviction, Say mentally with total conviction, my preponderant frequency now becomes conscious fullness. My body vibrates integrally with financial security. My hidden psyche remains fully reconditioned to receive generously, to earn completely, and to preserve continuously wealth. My energy establishes itself harmonized impeccably with opening, infinite movement, and infinite elevation. The limitation that was bequeathed extinguished itself entirely eternally. The abundance that forms my original divine heritage firms itself in this moment as the permanent situation of my living. Murphy emphasized absolutely that these words must be enunciated not automatically by habit or superficially, but with authentic, intense emotion, with honesty that emanates from the being, as if you existed, manifesting the most vital affirmation and fundamental of your complete journey. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy suggested that this third stage be realized every day without failures, for a minimum period of 40 days in sequence. He had determined this interval of 40 days because he had noticed in multiple cases that it was exactly the necessary period for a new resonance to consolidate itself integrally as the dominant pattern in the deep field of the hidden psyche. The beginning of 14 days are focused on rooting and installation of the new frequency. The new frequency still feels delicate and provisional. It still fights aggressively with the old frequencies that resist remaining. During days 15 until 28, something fundamentally changes and unlocks itself. The new resonance commences progressively to acquire true power, to live more spontaneous and genuine, more fundamental to your heart. Between days 29 and 40, the new vibrational pattern finally establishes itself as the predominant vibration that guides your reactions. Ended 40 days of constant application and genuine commitment. Murphy identified that those who sought him reported an emotional transformation so significant that it was perceptible even to external observers. The terror that paralyzes in relation to money reduced considerably until extinguishing itself. The shame of growing financially and obtaining extinguished itself totally. A certainty, which was serene, deep, and firm in the financial future, commenced to manifest fluidly from your interior. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly. An unexpected expense that was providentially avoided. A casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always, with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy emphasized a critical element that various disregarded entirely in their execution: During these 40 days of disciplined practice, the practical attitudes similarly keep essential relevance. The resonance establishes the adequate soil, but you still lack to have the bravery to proceed. If an opportunity surges along your journey, you need to cultivate the bravery in exploring it authentically. If a thought sprouts relative to how to increase your income or to multiply your inputs, you necessitate to be ready in putting it into practice with decision. Murphy identified this as aligned action, and it configured itself fundamentally vital. It constitutes the movement that emerges fluidly as your vibrational pattern has transformed to abundance. This act reveals itself substantially dissimilar from the desperate conduct founded in anxiety. It is action that is confident, clear, intuitive, and exact. Murphy recognized that when those who sought him kept the correct vibration and performed consistently in harmony with this energy, the possibilities opened in forms that in the past seemed totally unfeasible or close to miracle. The trajectory that Murphy offered was basically a way of true emancipation and deep. It did not represent dodging from real challenges. It signified embracing the factual truth that you were molded by inherited vibrational pattern and deciding attentively and with power to change this resonance integrally. It constituted understanding that you have supreme capacity not simply to alter your own existence, but to transcend the entire trajectory and future horizon of all your family heritage. This comprehension represents genuine power in its deepest sense. Not that capacity simply to win or to win against adversaries, but the true power to transmute, to metamorphose vibration, to go beyond ancestral restrictions. This knowledge, Murphy taught with absolute certainty, represents the real liberation which is monetary and spiritual that every conscious creature searches for.